and welcome to a little look back on the Asia Mega Trip 2017. Now, it was the best trip that I've ever done in my life, and I think it was for Alex as well, wasn't it? And 18 vlogs later, so last week, the last couple of vlogs went online, which is from the final part of the trip. I mean, we did it in 3 stages, didn't we? Of course, we started off in Hong Kong, we then moved over to Shanghai, and then over to Japan, where we did Tokyo. And yeah, what an amazing trip. If you've not seen the vlogs, then go back and check them out. They really are some of the best content we've ever filmed here on Theme Park Worldwide. Now, as always, I love looking at all the comments on the vlogs, and especially with this trip, with it being such a different trip to do and being so sort of different to anything we've done before. I look at all the comments, and a lot of you asked, could we do a bit of a reflections video just about how we came to booking the trip and how much it cost and just generally how we put this whole thing together. So that's what we're really going to talk about in this video, really, and we'll try not to ramble on too much. I know what me and Alex are like. We go off subject quite a bit, but we'll try not to. And of course, we're at the World of Theme Parks and just sitting here after it, and wow, what an amazing trip it was, wasn't it? I mean,
I still don't feel like I've come home, really. I feel like I'm still there in my mind and wanting to be there and just thinking, God, when do I get to go back? Hopefully very, very soon.
I mean, I've loved editing all the vlogs up and putting it all together. So for me, really, it kind of feels like we've only just got back.
Yeah.
Because I've only finished putting all the content together and editing it. It's a big process, and it took about a month and a half since the first one went online, which was that travel vlog. That first travel vlog going to Hong Kong. And remember, we had that I had that fish and chips, and we were sat there thinking, it's the last British meal we're going to get. We were so wrong, weren't we?
We were.
We managed to get plenty of food.
We had so much choice, and we were really concerned that going to somewhere so far away and not knowing what to do or how to speak the language, you didn't even have to say hello, really.
We may as well start off with talking about the food, really. It was nowhere near what we expected. And I know a few people have been disappointed that we didn't try some of the local cuisine. I did. But yeah, he did. What did you try?
I had some very nice Chinese and Japanese curries with some rice dishes. It was quite enjoyable, actually, quite enjoyable. I mean, because I've had takeaway when I've been here, you know.
Me personally, I didn't try any of it, but it was great to go and see it all. I know some of you are disappointed that I didn't try the food. Well, that's just me. I'm just not a very adventurous person when it comes to food at all. I didn't want to try it because I didn't want to make myself ill over there, and that was another big reason.
I think something very different to mention there, though. I mean, you might say you're not very adventurous to try that sort of thing, but to be fair, to go on a trip like this as a whole is a very adventurous thing to do. I mean, to go so far away and see so many different things. The food is the least of the concerns, really. I mean, we were lucky that we could eat burgers and hot dogs on command if we wanted to. You know, we adjusted to that really, really nicely, and I didn't feel hungry really at any point.
It was fine. Food was absolutely fine. Yeah. So if you're doing this kind of trip or planning it at the moment, which I know quite a few of you are from looking at the comments, don't be put off by thinking about the food. But anyway, I'll let Alex explain. How did we come across doing this trip?
It's a pretty strange one. I mean, I don't quite know the full extent of how you came about knowing about DisneySea and Tokyo Disneyland as a whole. The
just
Disney
always
resort.
wanted to go. Like Tokyo was the main one for me, and that was going to be the trip. Like it wasn't going to be. It was still going to be a mega trip. It still would have been great, but that was all I was going to do. I was proposing to Alex we go and do like a week's trip or something like that.
And it ended up being so much more.
A 2.5 week mega trip, thanks to him. I'll let him explain.
So we were Christmas Eve of 2016. Sean and I were together. We were sat talking. I think we were just relaxing. We certainly weren't planning on booking probably the best trip of our entire life. Yeah. And we ended up just coming across the subject of Tokyo Disneyland and Sea and saying how could we get to see this park, because it's something I'd really like to do. I mean, I've sort of followed DisneySea very closely, especially since Fantasmic was launched there a few years ago. But I'm sure you'll remember that it goes a lot back a lot further, and that was the one we really wanted to go and see. But then I kind of said to myself in my mind, let's go on some comparison websites. Let's go on Skyscanner, which is very good for booking flights. I think it's international. I don't think it's just based in the UK. Correct me if I'm wrong.
We mentioned that a lot. Skyscanner. It's a brilliant website. It really is.
And we looked. I put it up on my phone, and I was just thinking, let's see what it's like to go from London to Hong Kong, Hong Kong to Shanghai, Shanghai to Tokyo, Tokyo home. And I said we've got the option of doing connecting flights and things and all that. It didn't really matter to us. And it ended up working out, I think it was about £613 each.
£613 for
6 flights. 6 flights. That's 2 long-haul flights, 2 short-haul flights, and 2 connecting flights. That's incredible.
That is cheap as chips. Bear in mind, a trip to Florida sometimes for flights, you're paying 500 and something quid.
Plus,
if not more.
Yeah.
I mean, and it was flying with China Eastern, as you saw in the travel vlogs, if you've watched those. While we're going back and seeing those, you've not seen them, because obviously I know a lot of you like to just see the parks, but I do really recommend, especially with this this trip, seeing those travel vlogs and the flights and the airports and all that kind of stuff.
And
so it really helped.
And a lot of people tend to get put off by the thought of, I won't go with an unfamiliar airline. Why not try it? Honestly, God, it's not unusual for people to say that to us, but it is so worth doing and experiencing. And actually, probably one of the best airlines to fly with.
Yeah, really good. I mean, we got food included in that price as well. Loads of meals. Again, I didn't really eat much on the flight, so Alex ended up having 2 sit-ins.
I'm not complaining.
But in general, like, they came down drink service and stuff. There was loads, obviously, on the bigger flights. You had the screens on there with lots of movies, English movies on there as well to watch. It wasn't all in Chinese.
We both caught up on Beauty and the Beast, didn't we? We've not seen it yet.
Beautiful. Live action. We're
rambling. Carry on.
So yeah, anyway, we booked it, didn't we? Yeah, about 620-ish quid. What a bargain. And then we went on to think about hotels. And in terms of the hotels that we stayed on the trip, of course, we started off by staying in Hong Kong on site. And the reason we went for an on-site hotel was because we both thought it's going to be a bit scary going to Asia for the first time. So
what
different.
If we get poorly?
What if we get poorly? What if it's just so different? So we did go for an on-site hotel. Would I do that again going back? I don't feel like it's a necessity to do that, but it really made it.
It did, and Hong Kong Disney as a resort is absolutely incredible. One thing I think we didn't kind of get to cover there, Sean, when we were talking about that, just the overall package. I mean, the flights, everything, the transportation, finding a hotel that's right for you. If you know where you want to go, if you have your mind set on a destination, whether it's an actual theme park or even if you just wanted to visit a city, put your booking website to that destination and look what's in the surrounding areas. How many miles away is where you're wanting to stay, to visit from where you want to stay? Is it walking distance? Is it driving distance? Is there transportation? And that's what we did. And to start off with that, we looked at Hong Kong Disneyland and I thought, why not just stay on property? We found a really cheap deal on booking.com
I would say it was reasonably priced what we paid for that Disney hotel. For was it 4 nights we had at that hotel?
It was 4 nights.
Yeah, and it was around about £500, I think it was, wasn't it? For that, it was around that sort of price.
And to stay on a Disney property, that isn't a bad price at all. I mean, you pay that for 1 night in some Walt Disney World resort, so
not too bad at all.
The Wi-Fi was fantastic. That was something we were really concerned about as well.
Wi-Fi
our coverage. Obviously getting posts on and things, and we ended up having the 2 vlogs on within the space I think of about a week.
Less than that. It was a few days.
Crazy.
So then obviously Shanghai, we stayed in an off-property hotel which was not far away from Shanghai Disney at all. We stayed in the Novotel there, didn't we? And that price-wise, that was really cheap. I think that was about less than £200 for the night.
For the 2 of us.
For both of us. So again, if you're calculating this and the costs and things, so you got your £600 and something each for the flights, and then you've got about £300 each for the hotel over at Disney in Hong Kong, and then about £100 each for Shanghai. You know, it didn't cost that much this trip. People say, how do you afford to do it? We really do search for deals, and we like to do things as cheap as we can. And that doesn't mean staying in really budget hotels. All of them were really nice. But yeah, we just look out for the good deals, and that's my advice to you guys. Use them comparison sites.
A lot of people say plan well. Sometimes you don't need to plan well. Just know what you're looking for. If you can work out what you're looking for, you can do it any time. I mean, we looked at it on Christmas Eve. We booked this trip on Christmas Day. I remember I was sat here. We were talking at 10, 11 o'clock at night on Christmas Day, and then next thing we had this trip planned. It was booked. It was ready to go, and honestly, it was fascinating.
It was
so good, and the whole process. I mean, yes, there's a lot of things to print off, emails and things, and one of the things I don't think we did mention much about was the actual visa we needed to travel to Shanghai. We had to go to the applications at the Chinese visa application centre twice in Manchester to make that available to us. We had to go once for an appointment and once to pick up the visa and pick up our passports. But actually,
easy enough to do.
Really easy and so worth it. And
about £150 was it for that?
For the visa, and you've got that for 2 years.
Yeah.
2 years, so you can go out and ride Tron as many times as you like.
Or let's go to Magic Kingdom in about 15 years.
Exactly.
Maybe a few years.
Not long.
But yeah, like more about the hotel. The final one we stayed in was Hostels My Stays Mahima. That's the final one we stopped in, and that was literally 5-minute walk from the entrance to Tokyo DisneySea.
Incredible.
The view we had was amazing. Not from our window, but you opened the front door and you could just see Mount Prometheus in DisneySea.
The best thing was, I remember Sean woke up before me one morning, which I think he did most mornings, to be fair. And I remember hearing him opening the door and just go, "Morning, Prometheus," and then off he went down into the lobby. How incredible is that to have Mount Prometheus, that huge volcano, within a sight of you, and never mind actually being stood at the foot of it in the park itself. Incredible.
I mean, and also to get to the main Disney park there as well, if you don't want to go to DisneySea, to get to Tokyo Disneyland, there was a shuttle bus which was very efficient. If you didn't want to get that, you could also walk to DisneySea and then catch the monorail, which is a paid monorail, which I did mention, but you can get daily and weekly tickets along with a single ride. Or I'd say it's about a 20-minute walk direct to the entrance of Tokyo Disneyland from the hotel. So I'd stop there again.
100%.
Like, I don't think I'd ever be able to afford them on-site hotels there. I'd love to, but yeah, like staying off-site there, it didn't matter. The park hours were that long that by the time you finished on park, you just want to go to sleep anyway.
Of course you do. It's a bed for the night. That's the key thing. We don't look at comfort, relaxation, style. We look at, it's a bed for the night. It's somewhere where we're going to go in. We're not going to have the lights on for long. We're going to turn the lights off, go to sleep, wake up the next morning, off we go to the park. And that was that trip as a whole. There was no stopping and starting, really. It was just continuous of, okay, we've just done a 13-hour day at Shanghai Disney, but don't worry, because tomorrow we're going to have a little bit of time in Shanghai, and then tomorrow night we're going to be looking at Mount Prometheus in a completely different country. How does that work? But that is the perk of doing a trip like this, and you don't have to do it all as one. You can do it very much separately. But whilst you're out there, why not spend a little bit of extra money, save yourself some money, but spend more, get it all in.
So that's a bit about how it all sort of came together, and the accommodation that we stopped in, and of course the visas as well. Well, next we'll talk a little bit about the transportation and how we got about there. So transportation on the trip. I mean, before going out there, I was really unsure about how we'd get about, and before we actually went, we did a little bit of research into transport, but not as much as we could have done, I think, with this one. I mean, we went out there thinking that we were going to have to get Ubers everywhere, and that was our intention originally. We thought we haven't really got the time to think about it, and there's going to be long days and stuff, let's just get Ubers and taxis. Whilst we were over there, we actually only got an Uber twice. I think we only got a taxi twice as well. When you think a 2.5 week trip, that isn't much at all in terms of having to get taxis and Ubers. We found that the public transport over there is actually very, very easy, isn't it?
Very, very, very simple. There were shuttle buses for most hotels to get you to and from the hotels and to the parks and both the airports. So that was really easy. We were well connected, and to be fair, there were local taxi companies you could contact really, really easily. Even before you visit these countries, just go online, type in Shanghai, Hong Kong or Tokyo taxis. They'll come up, you can book them in advance, so they're there waiting for you when you get to the hotel, which is brilliant.
That's even if you needed to. I mean, me personally, going back, I don't think I'd need to use an Uber or a taxi again. I mean, you look at the Hong Kong, the travel vlog right at the start, where we did get an Uber. Doing that again, we'd get the train. I mean, it was so easy. Get that metro system. Brilliant metro systems in all 3 locations. Shanghai, again, we did get a taxi, but we could, next time, easily use the metro system, which just closed earlier than what you'd expect, but not as early as what we was originally told. I do think when we arrived that night, we could have got the metro and saved us quite a bit of money.
Yes.
And finally, of course, in Tokyo, public transport there, fantastic to get about, a brilliant metro system, and yeah, just really nice and easy. But like Alex said, look before you go. Some places will have shuttles included with your hotel stays, and like I say, when we were at the Novotel, we ended up being able to get a shuttle straight back to the airport.
Perfect.
I mean, that was brilliant, wasn't it? But overall, don't let transport put you off for this trip. I think that's the...
We were very well connected the whole trip, which is what we needed to be, and there was options for those who don't feel comfortable with public transport. There are taxi options available should you need them, which is perfect.
Yeah, nice and easy. So, of course, the main reason for going on the Asia trip was to see the theme parks. I mean, we were very excited to see the culture and all the different cities that we went to, but the main thing was the parks, wasn't it? Seeing some big new rides and seeing some of the best theme parks out there in the world.
Spectacular.
Yeah, I mean, we started off, the first one, of course, Hong Kong Disneyland. We're going to talk about our highlights from each individual park. So I'll let Alex start off. Hong Kong Disney.
For me, Mystic Manor, what an incredible dark ride that is. I mean, trackless, but so beautifully well themed. The technology, the immersion is second to none. I mean, it's kind of sad really it fell in the place it did in the trip, because actually it is a very impressive ride, and it didn't get to keep its top spot for me for very long, unfortunately.
No, it got top. Same for me, the highlight of that park. Of course, Mystic Manor. I love the characters behind it and the fact there's so little individual movements in there as well. Little things that you notice whilst you're going around the attraction. The portrait on the wall springs to mind, where you're looking at it, you think it's normal, and then it's very, very clever how you get like a flash of light and it moves towards you. Very, very clever, and what a gorgeous attraction. But overall, I thought that part was brilliant. It was a really nice experience. Main Street had a really nice feel to it, and I look forward to seeing the future with a brand new castle there as well.
Can't believe it's getting its own, finally, yay!
Really exciting. Of course, the second part we went on the trip, Ocean Park. What was your highlights from that? Gorgeous, this place.
I'm going to say it after three. 3, 2, 1. Symbio! I think we're quite mutually agreeing on that. What a beautiful show that is, but what a beautiful park. It's landscaping. Yeah. It's not designed that way. That is where it's located. That is its history. That is its land. And you know what? What a beautiful way of designing such a gorgeous park. Absolutely incredible. And seeing a panda bear as well, that was pretty cool too.
It was, yeah, the panda bear. Again, for me, Symbio, which was, if you've not watched the vlog yet, I recommend go and watch them. But yeah, the Symbio, the nighttime show, was absolutely brilliant. It was a combination of water, lots of fire, some pyrotechnics in there as well, but overall, what a really nice production at the park. And like Alex said, the location of it, the cable car, it was gorgeous, it really was. We then moved over to the second part of the trip, of course, Shanghai, for Shanghai Disneyland.
Across.
Yeah, there was an Airbus as well, China Eastern Airbus, and then started off at Shanghai Disneyland on that trip. So what did we get there?
Of course, for me, and I'm sure for yourself as well, it's got to have to be Pirates of the Caribbean. What a beautiful attraction that is. And I feel bad saying that because I've just described Mystic Manor the same way, but honest to God, the technology that is used on that ride blows me away. And to those people who do know how it works, great, fantastic, but it's still, when you don't know, it's immersive, it's wonderful, and Disney really nailed that for me.
Yeah, they really did. I was really quite scared about the use of screens inside a Pirates attraction, but it really did steal the show. By far, hands down, the best version of Pirates, one of the best dark rides out there in the world. And like Alex said, these dark rides just kept topping each other, really. But this was brilliant, the use of screens in there, and that final battle scene, a big screen at the front, and then you had the two pirate ships at the side, and then going through a backwards section. The boats can turn round. You went through that backwards section, through the big shipwreck. It was stunning, and what a visually impressive attraction.
Beautiful.
The park itself as well was great. The Enchanted Storybook Castle, I loved it. Tron was brilliant, and just the whole park was very well themed, very fresh, and it's still my favourite Magic Kingdom style park out there.
I agree.
Really good. A lot better than the park that we went to next, which is, of course, Happy Valley.
Unhappy Valley.
Highlights on that one, then.
I think we kind of made our own highlights on that part that day. I mean, the mobility scooter with tinsel certainly was second to none. I mean, some of the best immersive. I'm joking. I'm not going to describe the tinsel to you, but no.
Poundland.
Pound World. Say on brand. Thank you. But no, a nice little park. It has a lot of potential, but unfortunately I can't see it expressing that potential anytime soon. The B&M family coaster looked quite good, but unfortunately we couldn't get to ride it, as you'll see in the vlog if you haven't seen already.
Watch that, it's hilarious. It really is hilarious.
It was probably one of the best days, if not the best day I've had at a theme park, and I did not expect it to be that way, especially when I walked in that morning and I felt I was in sort of dystopian, like, David Bowie labyrinth maze. What was going on? It was great.
Mental. And the music around the park, and the best ride there was the Intamin Megalight, which was called Megalight.
Genius.
You know,
Genius.
That was good, and of course we did get the wooden coaster as well. But yeah, I'd like to go back maybe and give it another go at some point, but I won't rush back there. I look back on that day though, and it's one of the best days I've ever had doing theme park.
It's not unusual to go to a park and see things that are down, but to go to a park where you're worried what's open, that is a little bit concerning. But we made great memories, didn't we?
We really did with that one. And then of course we went over to our final location, which was Tokyo, where we started off with a visit to Fuji-Q Island. What was your highlight from there?
Do you know, it's such a strange park. It's very, very strange. I mean, operations are very questionable, I would say. They seem to know what they're doing with it. Yeah. They seem to have a bit of a system, but very strange. But Acre as a coaster was incredible. And to see that, obviously, we didn't get to go onto the Domper, but however, to see it in person, to be there, to be a part of the atmosphere, incredible. And to be at the base of Mount Fuji, wow.
You couldn't see it, like?
No, we just thought it was all smoke and mirrors because we just saw a cloud of smoke in the sky.
We saw it at the end.
We saw about 200 foot of it, which is better than most people, so we'll take that.
But yeah, brilliant park, and obviously a top coaster for you. One of my top 10, Acre. What a brilliant ride that was. And definitely the highlight of that park. But again, another gorgeous location. Up there with Ocean Park, both of those two for locations were brilliant.
And I didn't expect that Sean would go on a 4D coaster that he'd enjoy more than X2. I mean, X2 was really great.
Crazy.
You absolutely
came off that, and wow, even better than X2.
And I've been really good at translating, so I'm kind of glad I got that name right. Otherwise, I look quite silly then at that point.
So what is it?
Acre.
Acre, not Ejanica.
I say Acre.
Acre.
Well, that's just my regional accent or not, I don't know.
There we are. Anyway, the final parks we visited, Tokyo Disneyland and Tokyo DisneySea at the Tokyo Disney Resort. This was the one, like I say, that I wanted to do more than anything, and it definitely didn't disappoint. So Tokyo Disneyland, the first part to open there.
For me, Happiness on High is the most beautiful. I'm joking. It's not. It was a pretty difficult show to judge. We won't go into that one too much.
Check out the vlog.
Check out the vlog. You'll see our quick panning to see where the fireworks are actually being launched from. No, that park is beautiful, but the parade to finish at the end of the night, absolutely stunning. It had a few unique touches which I liked. But
Dream lights.
Dream lights. Is gorgeous.
Yeah,
really nice. A really nice end to the day. But I think the problem was it was hard for us at that part because we were so looking forward to DisneySea. We were kind of putting Disneyland in the back of our mind. But actually, I don't think I was disappointed in that.
I kind of feel like out of all the parts we did on the trip, that's the one I need more time in. Yes. And as much as DisneySea, I felt like we discovered all of that. I still feel like the stuff I haven't discovered inside Tokyo Disneyland, and I look forward to going back. Obviously Space Mountain, It's a Small World, and so much more in the future with an expanded Fantasyland, Beauty and the Beast ride and all sorts. So lots to come. But my highlight from the park was just, again, seeing it for the first time, and the whole Rivers of America area. I loved it there. Probably my favourite version of the Rivers of America. Really nice, and the fact that you had the Western River Railway running around it, it was gorgeous. That leads us on to the final park, and a brand new #1 park for both me and Alex. I went in this park with really high expectations, and I came away, and those had yet again been smashed.
Doubles, at least.
Tokyo DisneySea. That part.
How do you describe a theme park where you don't feel immersed, you feel lost? And I think I made that point in the vlog that
That's a good quote. People liked that one in the comments.
I did feel immersed, but I felt a lot more than immersed. I felt lost in the magic, and I've never thought that was possible. I love being proven wrong, and that park definitely proved me wrong on my expectations. And you know, I think we both realised that going to a park of that scale and that size, we've got to learn to stop looking at smaller parks in a negative environment in our minds, because actually each park's unique in its own way. You know, there's some qualities that I would go to a local theme park for that I wouldn't get anywhere else in the world. But then,
definitely.
You know, it proves that actually comparing things isn't always the best way of expressing your interest. Just talking about what you enjoyed at each park gives people their leeway to decide what they truly like. But DisneySea and Journey to the Centre of the Earth, for me, incredible.
Yeah, that's an experience, and it's not the biggest dark ride. Out of the three that are top dark rides now, it's probably the smallest in terms of set pieces and everything. But just the whole soundtrack to it, the score it had, the ride system, the whole thing that was put together. Bear in mind, it's not in sort of a big show building out the back of the park somewhere. This show building was landscaped all the way through, and just the whole thing was a really nice experience. My #1 dark ride.
This show building is the icon of the park. It is the signature. It's what people visit that park to see. But walking through the different theme ports of discovery, as they call them, are just
breathtaking.
We've still not found the word, and I don't think we're ever going to find the word.
I can't wait to go back to see. It will happen at some point. But with all the park trips that we spoke about, make sure you check out the vlogs. There's 18. That's 18 different vlogs to watch, with a few travel vlogs in there, hotel walk-arounds, a little walk around there like downtown Disney style areas. So make sure you do check them out. They really are all worth a watch. 18 most memorable videos ever. It was an absolutely incredible trip. It really was.
So, after 6 Disney resorts later, I mean, it's weird actually that Sean and I haven't actually been to Walt Disney World together. We've both been, but the most cliche in our minds Disney resort in the world is somewhere we haven't yet visited together.
Yet's been the key word.
But, I mean, for yourself, Sean, you've seen me visit all 5 of the others for the first time. I've never visited Paris. That was the first vlog I ever appeared in, one of my most recent ones, which I've just been in on the Asia Mega Trip. It's been a journey, but not just the Asian mega trip as a whole has been a journey. Everybody has their own Disney journey when they visit a park, whether they visit Walt Disney World or Disneyland Paris once in their life, or they go and explore all 6 Disney parks like we've done. We've all had a journey, and I think Sean and I would really love to express that journey that we've both been through with you right now. And for me, I think sometimes it's a challenging memory, and without going into it too much, walking into Walt Disney World for me the first time when I was 7 years old, I was actually holding the hands of my nan and my granddad, who are unfortunately no longer here with me. I lost my granddad very recently, and walking in there, looking at Cinderella's castle in front of me, thinking, wow, this is the most beautiful thing on earth. How can this be beaten in young Alex's mind, young little smiley Alex's mind? I didn't think it was possible. And now to say I've done 6 Disney parks later, and walking out of Tokyo DisneySea, essentially our 12th Disney park, including the water parks too, it's sensational. And I walked in with my role model, my inspiration, that were my nan and granddad, and I walked out of my last Disney park with my best friend. And for me, that moment is undescribable, but emotional and incredible, and I have no regrets about any of it, no part of it, nothing, what I've seen, what I've done. Every moment I've taken a breath in those theme parks, I will remember forever, because I was there and I've been a part of the magic, and I wish I could thank everyone for that, but I'm so glad you guys have got to see my journey, and Sean, of course, you've been through a lot.
Very special. I mean, I started off by going to Disneyland Paris, the closest resort was here in the UK when I was a kid. I first went there in the early 2000s, 2001, for my first visit. Wow, it's a long time ago, 16 years ago. I first went there, and it wasn't until 2014 where I next did my Disney resort, which a lot of you saw the reactions to in the vlogs, and that was, of course, Walt Disney World. Then went on the year after, 2015, to go and see California, and then so on to 2017 to go and see the 3 Asia parks. It is fantastic, it really is, to look back on it all. And my favourite Disney resort, of course, Tokyo DisneySea, but all of them different parks out there, all the 6 different Disney resorts, have all got things that I really enjoy in them, and really special memories and things at them they really have. I just want to thank everyone that's ever joined me at a Disney park, really, and my parents mainly for taking me out there on that trip, and for the first time to Disneyland Paris, and just for everyone that I've ever gone to a Disney park with since. And it is crazy to think we've still not done Walt Disney World.
Of all the parks, I mean, it's magical. It's magical memories, and it's things that I'm never going to forget. And I'm sure certainly you're not. And to have that documented for you to watch on YouTube is incredible. And you know, you probably sat there eating your chicken tikka masala, whatever you do. I'm always going to make a joke about the food, but you guys, seriously, please, if you ever get the chance, go out and see these parks.
Do it.
You will not be disappointed. You will find your own journey, even if it's not as deep and meaningful as ours to you, in some opinions.
So we might be sat there thinking, God, Sean, it's getting a bit deep, but to us it really means a lot, Disney, and it's something we've brought up as a kid with, you know, and don't have any regrets about that. And thank you, just thank you for joining us on that journey. And that is all for the Disney theme parks in terms of seeing new ones, but we'll be back in the future with many trips, lots of new attractions to see, lots of developments. We recently had D23 a couple of weeks back, and looking at all the new exciting developments to come across the parks, there is so much to see. I'm not going to talk about them and list them off now. I have done a video in that in a couple of weeks back's episode of the show, but yeah, it's so much to look forward to with Disney in the future. When we go back to all these resorts and all these parks, we're going to have new stuff to see and new memories to discover. Anyway, I think that's enough from this one. We've spoken a lot about this trip, and I hope this video that we've put together has just been a nice sort of finale, a nice ending, so to speak, to the Asia Mega Trip, the last video from this trip. And wow, just thank you to everyone that watched the vlogs. If you've not yet seen them, go back and watch them. I can't stress enough, you'll love them. We had an amazing time, and seeing our reactions to
Walt Disney said, if you can dream it, you can do it. I'm going to say to you, if you can find it on Skyscanner, just book it. Do it. My inspirational quote. Get it in the comments. Hashtag it. Alex's inspiration. Thank you very much.
I love it. Well, thanks, Alex, for an amazing trip.
I think a hug is in motor. We're not going to shake hands. We're not in a business meeting now.
Well, let's shake hands anyway. There we are. Thanks for an amazing trip, and thanks to everyone for watching our journey. We'll be back in the future with many more Disney videos, and who knows, me and Alex might even go to Walt Disney World together at some point.
Maybe one day it might happen, but for now, I'm off to get in like a taxi. I'm actually booked an Uber to the airport. I'm off to Tokyo DisneySea.
Oh, I'm off on the Disney Cruise Line.
Oh, for God's sake.
On that note, thanks for watching, and that means it's time to cue those credits. See you later, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.